Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Mike Francesa podcast on the Mike Francesa channel, on the Bet Rivers Network, on YouTube, on this Thursday evening, as the Knicks finally dispense of the Pistons in 6 games in a game that was, I guess, emblematic of what we saw for the first 5 games. Back and forth, Knicks having their moments, Pistons having their moments, and then the teams taking turns throwing away big leads until the Knicks finally made a basket, as Brunson has a habit of doing, and they get a win against a team they should have been able to put away. If you're looking for, great things to be said about the Knicks after this game, I'm not going to do it. I wasn't impressed. I don't think it sets them up well for the next series. We will get into that. Let's get through with this one first. The Knicks came out tonight, and I thought their first quarter was the best basketball they've played in the whole playoff. They clearly were conscious of getting people involved. They took Brunson off the ball. Now, he had a huge first quarter. He couldn't miss. They couldn't miss. They wound up having a great first quarter. They put the finishing touches on it with the McBride basket, and they have a 37-23 lead after the first quarter, and really couldn't have played better than they did in the first quarter. I mean, they did everything right, shot the ball brilliantly, and of course, handed it all back in the second quarter. Finally, the third quarter wasn't their ruination. They came back with a big third quarter, had a 11-point lead with 9 minutes to play, and then completely threw that away, and should have thrown the game away because they again reverted to no offense, no ball movement, don't get the ball to anybody, don't get up and down the floor, and just watch Brunson and once in a while Towns play with the basketball. And then the Pistons threw the game away. Let's be honest. This was a Piston team that wasn't ready to win yet. They didn't execute anything. It wasn't great Knicks defense. I only liked one possession Knicks defensively in the stretch. Unforced errors, just like the last play of the game. Unforced errors everywhere. Bad decisions by CC. He's a wonderful player. He'll learn, but those were not the way you want to attack those possessions. They didn't do anything right in the last 2 minutes of the game. They missed a couple of free throws when they needed to make 2 out of 2. They didn't. And the Knicks made a couple of plays. I mean, and got a couple of breaks. Brunson made the one layup underneath the basket that was big, made the 3 to win the game, but he took 16 shots in the fourth quarter. I mean, 16 shots. He was 5 for 16 in the fourth quarter. I understand your star is going to have the ball the last couple of minutes, but their offense completely stops. And he got bailed out a couple times. Bridges bailed him out with a great tip, and Bridges never touched the ball in the fourth quarter and bailed him out. I think that tied it at 113 after he missed the shot. And Thompson, for the most part, played good D on him. I mean, he gave him a nice shake the last possession. He got him off balance and knocked down the 3 to win the game. And then the Pistons didn't get a shot up at the end of the game. But I mean, the Knicks missed countless shots in the fourth quarter, countless shots, and they were very fortunate to win the game. They're down 112-105. If the Pistons execute from there at all, the Pistons are forcing a game 7. They didn't. It wasn't great defense. It was unforced errors. It was dumb plays by a team that's not ready to win yet. And they'll grow from it. Fine. This isn't about them. They went home. They availed themselves well. They haven't been in the playoffs in a million years. They improved themselves by 30 games. They'll get better. When they back off, they'll be very happy with their performance this year. Okay, put people back in their building, put some life back in the franchise. Good for them. Knicks go on now. But they have to understand how to utilize the people they have. If they can't do that, and this offense cannot be in major parts of the game just 4 guys watching Brunson play basketball. Brunson took 33 he scored 40 points, but he took 33 shots. He didn't take 23 shots, he took 33 shots. At one point, he was like 1 for 10 in the fourth quarter. So, I mean, he made 5 baskets in the fourth quarter. He scored 40 points for the game. He made the game winner. He took 16 shots in the fourth quarter. That can't be your offense. Except for one play, Towns was almost a no-show in the second half. Bridges had a great game because they let Bridges play in the open floor for parts of this game where he is a different player. If you can't see that visually, then you don't know what you're looking at. He is a different player in the open floor. When he can go to the basket, when he can play in the open spaces, he's a completely different player. He scored 25 points tonight. He took 16 shots. He made 11 of them. He was economical, and he made huge plays, and his tip in at 113 was an enormous play with off the Duran gets 1 of 2. Now they're down 113, 111, 40 seconds left. Brunson gets a shot up, misses it, and Bridges makes a great tip. If I was Detroit, as soon as Robinson showed in that after Towns fouled out, coming out of the possession with the lead, 49-8 or in the tie possession, either one, okay? Anytime I got an offensive possession there, and I can't get away with it too many times because then they'll start calling the penalty, but the bottom line is I can get away with it at least one key possession and just put him on the line for 2 foul shots. Let him try and make them. He's not gonna make them. I would have fouled him. I would have put him on the line. If he made 1 or 2, it'd be a miracle. He wouldn't make both. There's no chance. That's a little daring to do that. I understand coaches don't think that way, especially in spots like that. But Detroit's lack of execution cost them the game. Knicks didn't win this game with brilliant play. I look at how many times the Knicks blew leads when they couldn't put this team away, and this team kept coming back at them. I thought in the beginning of the fourth quarter, this game was over. When it's 101-89, I thought the game was over. And here the Knicks go into their terrible offense. They can't score. And here come the Pistons back at them again. Give the Pistons credit for being tenacious. They were tenacious. Every one of these games came right down to the wire. From that standpoint, it wasn't a bad series. But if you're going to struggle this much against this team, if your offense is going to bog down at times, okay, if you're going to rely on Brunson to make incredibly off-balance shots, some of them go in. But you know what? You're not going to beat a good team that way. Okay, when he made that three-point play to make it 112-108, when it was 112-105, that fall-away shot, you're playing a good team there. Their shot block is sticking that ball into the stands after he gets part of the defender. Their rim protector is taking that shot and throwing it in the stands. That ball's not getting to the rim against a good team. It's not happening. That shot's never getting up on the backboard. He's throwing it in the stands. He's waiting for him to release it, and he's throwing it in the stands. They're going to be the good team playing this way, and that's why, if you notice, they haven't been any good teams all year. The only chance they have is to be an engine that plays wide open and utilizes what they have in Bridges and what they have in Anobi and what they have in Towns. and obviously the energy that Hart brings, and then what the special qualities that Brunson brings. If you don't play as a five-man unit, because remember, this team doesn't have a bench, and then you're going to relegate parts of the game or big parts of the game down to four guys watching one guy play. So basically, it's one man. Let's go. It's one guy against the world. You're not winning any good against any good team that way. It's not happening. Brunson's not going 5 for 16 in the fourth quarter against a good team and getting out of there with a win. He got out of there with the win because the Pistons didn't know what the hell they were doing in the last 3 minutes of the game with the ball. That's the only reason they won. They didn't win because they were some special team down the stretch. They made some plays, and Detroit made no plays once they got the lead. Turn was 8 for 8. He didn't make both free throws. Thompson, is a shaky foul shooter. He's a good young player. He's a very good defender. He made 1 or 2. They needed 2 there. They needed 2 there both times. There are times you need 2. There are times you need a good shot. There are times you need to get to the basket. Cunningham has to know the difference of getting into that lane and knowing if the shot's not going, that he's going to the foul line. He has to initiate the contact there. He's just taking angles that allow him to take bad shots, get him up on the backboard, and hope something good happens. He'll learn. He hasn't learned that part of the craft yet. He'll come. He's a very talented player. But those were bad angles, bad shots he took. They didn't have one good possession in the last 3 minutes of the game. Not one. And it wasn't great defense. It was fortunate defense. And with the game tied, Brunson made his 3. Got a knack for that. But remember, he had missed a gazillion fourth quarter shots. That's not holding up against a good team at all. When they played away in the first quarter, they can play against good teams. When they played the way they played in the fourth quarter, they can't survive against a good team. There's no team left in the playoffs that they could beat playing that way. And they're not going to beat Boston that way, and you don't want to see them play Cleveland that way. If the Cleveland finishes off Indiana, which it will. So, was I impressed? No. There's no game 7. Knicks get a little rest. They need it. They need it. And they got to figure out exactly how they are going to do things and do them consistently. Are they going to deal with this bench situation? Are they going to beat a good team getting 5 points or 6 points off the bench? No, they're not. The Pistons, now Beasley had an unconscious first half. He didn't score, and he had 2 points, I think, in the second half. They scored 31 points to the Knicks 6. That's the Pistons. You can beat the Pistons doing that. The Pistons don't have a number 2 scorer. They don't have, 3 guys who can get 30 points. They don't have 2 or 3 guys coming off the bench who can go unconscious from 3. They don't have the ability to do those things that, say, the Celtics can do. And if they don't get, and Tibbs doesn't utilize the bench in a more productive manner, you're not beating these teams wearing out your 5 guys and playing them all those minutes every night. It's not going to work. 8 very solid guys are going to beat 5 guys every time. And Celtics have at least 8 who can play. I don't think anyone would argue that. But it's more than that. It's about a mindset here. You saw it in the first quarter, okay? You saw it how they moved the ball, how they got people the ball in the right spots, how they got out on the break, how they did the things, and they flourished in that offense. That is who they are. They didn't build a team that has the abilities or the cohesion or the defensive capabilities of last year's team. They built a different team this year. And you have to play it to their strengths, or you can't beat a good team. And now it's to the part of the playoffs where there's only good teams. The bad teams are gone. The iffy teams are gone. The hurt teams are gone. The old teams are gone. The fake teams are gone. Now the teams that are here are mostly solid. There might be 1 or 2 that aren't great. Indiana's not great. But if you're going to play a Boston or a Cleveland or an Oklahoma City, you're going to have to play special to even have a chance. And we didn't see that in this series, and we didn't see that tonight. We saw it for a couple of minutes. I thought the first quarter was as good as I've seen the Knicks look in a long, long time. Because they have to utilize their wings properly. Otherwise, why are they here? When you turn them into spectators who just spend their time cleaning up for Brunson, it's not going to work. And you're not beating a decent team or a good team or a championship caliber team. And to go through the rest of the East, you're playing a defending champion and an absolute championship caliber team that won 15 games twice this year straight and embarrassed the daylights out of the Heat in the first round. Easy part's over, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. None of it was easy. Knicks couldn't put this team away, and they didn't put them away tonight. So if you want to revel in the first round victory, go ahead. This team won 50 games. It's supposed to win in the first round. It was the 3 seed in the East. It's supposed to win in the first round. It won in the first round. And it wasn't overly impressive doing it. And does it set them up well for the second round? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But they have to make, and Tibbs has to make a decision and stick to it. And he is going to have to. He's going to have to direct the offense a certain way, and he is going to have to utilize and believe in the bench to some extent, or this has no chance. And they're probably going to lose, but we'll get to that. Let's wait till they set the series when we get everything, and you get a couple of minutes to revel in this victory. Now, on the other story today is clearly Juan Soto came into the game today with no homers at Citi Field, with no homers in his last 14 games, with no RBIs in his last 9 games. And I know it was the second straight loss for the Mets at home, first time since I think late last July, that they lost back-to-back games at Citi Field. But at least he finally knocked the ball out of the park a couple of times. Does that mean it's over? Well, you saw better at bats today, and you saw him take the ball out of the ballpark, which he can do in any direction. You know, during this slump, there's been a lot of derogatory things said about him, as there always is when things get over the top. And part of it's been people saying, "Oh, he doesn't have any power." Well, he has plenty of power. He can hit the ball out of any part of the ballpark. He's not Judge, but who the heck is? I mean, Judge is enormous. And right now he's unconscious. And no, and this is a story for a different day, but no. Okay. First of all, no right-handed hitter is ever batting 400 again in this world of baseball. If it was ever going to be done, it is going to be done by a left-handed hitter. It's never going to be done by a right-handed hitter. First of all. Secondly, nobody's hitting 400. Okay, I understand where he is right now, and it is spectacular, the start he's off to. And his batting average is insane. But I would wager you serious money right now. Judge is a lot of things. He is not a he's not a classic batting champion. He is insanely hot right now. But that's not what he is. Now, is it going to take a long time for this to go, to dissipate? Yes. I mean, he could go 0 for 30 and be hitting 340. Do the math. Right now, if he went 0 for 30, I think he'd still be hitting 340 something. So he's got a whole lot of days where his average is going to be in the 370s and 380s and, maybe even over 400 for a little while. But 400, I'm sorry. If you want to tell me he could hit 70 home runs, I would buy that. He could do that. In this day and age, with the way the ballparks are built and everything else, he could do that. Could he hit 400 and hit 400 from the right side? Not in a million years. Not in a million years. 400 is a long way off, and it's a debate that's even unfair. That's how crazy it is. He hasn't had a slump. He's going to have a slump. Everybody does. Even he does. Okay? It happens. But he has been spectacular. Past spectacular. There's not even a word to describe how good he's been this year. His numbers are insane. For Soto, this was a day that allowed him to take a deep breath. Allowed him to kind of get back to being Soto a little bit. Again, he's not Soto till you see the pitchers fearful when he comes to the plate in a big situation. And that hasn't happened yet. Let's wait for that to happen. Let's wait till he starts driving in big runs. He hit 2 home runs today. Now no one's gonna talk about him not hitting home runs at Citi Field anymore, the fact that he's got only 3 home runs, and where are the home runs, and where are the RBIs? He's got 5 home runs. All of a sudden, that doesn't look so bad. And you have a hot week and you hit 4, 3 or 4 more, and all of a sudden, you're right on pace for your 30 home runs. Right now, he's on pace for 25. Happens quickly. What a difference a day makes. But watching them this summer, watching them all summer perform, and their teams have some flaws. Let's not, make it like they don't. They're not great teams. The National League is much tougher than the American League. We know that. Much tougher. That is goes without saying. The American League is exceedingly, exceedingly soft right now. Yes, we know there are the Colorado Rockies. We do understand that. Okay. But it is exceedingly soft right now. The American League. Day game, May 1st. Nice day. 36-239. What that tells me is Mets sold a lot of season tickets. They sold a lot of secondary plans, which show up in those numbers. But when their average number now on a dead day, a Monday night, a Thursday afternoon, isn't 22,000. Now it's 36,000, 38,000, 40 plus every weekend. Full houses on big days, big teams. That's what this owner envisioned. He's going to be good at marketing. He's going to be good at the business aspects. He's going to bring a more modern, he already has a more modern management philosophy and more of a real professional Wall Street type management philosophy to the franchise. But there's a buzz and a feeling in that stadium which hasn't been there in a while. And part of that is Soto. That's his job. That's his job to have those people come back and be excited by him. That's why he's there. He's there to win, but he's also there to do that. They're in the entertainment business. And that's his job. And that's working. Right now, they're where they want to be in the standings. We know that. They've been there all along. We know that's the case. And they're filling the ballpark. And when he starts hitting, really starts hitting, then they got everything they would need. And we'll see where it lands them. Next stop will be the Yankee Met confrontations. First coming up at Yankee Stadium, and then the ones over the 4th of July at Citi Field. And that's going to be a hot ticket. And obviously, Soto and Judge are going to be on display. So Soto quiets his critics with 2 homers today. The Judge faithful are dreaming the impossible dream right now, and that is the impossible dream, 400. And hey, guess what? It's time for the Knicks and the Celtics. And you know what? In any year, in May, that's not a bad thing. Just to say those words, Knicks and Celtics. Okay. There's nothing ever bad about that in May. But the Knicks have a whole lot of work to do and a whole lot of thinking to do. We'll see you later.